All right, so basically, just to cover the fact that we had a massive lack of ideas about today's theme, Adam picked a wide range of topics that we're gonna simply discuss and react to today, of what we are expecting for this year, and things which gonna happen or may happen.
So we're gonna start off. Let's start off with VR. So VR obviously has been a big thing for a while now. People have been talking about it. PlayStation uh, 4 had the VR, and we're still waiting on VR for PlayStation 2. So, Antoine, what do you think is going to happen this year in VR? Do you think we're going to see any changes or anything new, or is it going to be another quiet year?
Maybe. Ah, hopefully, VR was very limited by the fact that it was very expensive, but I think it's kind of an old info, I think, but was it the Oculus which went down to the $400 range, something like this year? So what I see, or I really hope is gonna happen this year, is that the price tag is gonna get much lower, or at least a bit lower, so that it's gonna be much more accessible to us, so that I can enjoy some VR. I'm not sure if I'm gonna really enjoy it because the first time I tried it, in a display in a commercial center, I played on some video game, not Forza, but something like this, like a race game, and I tried 3 minutes, and after I was like, oh, gonna stop for a minute. I don't feel so good. So VR, my first experience was a bit, strange. But again, it was the same when I played first FPS, like first playing shooters back, 10 years ago when I was starting to play a game like this. After half an hour, I would feel a bit dizzy, and after I adapted to it. So maybe it's the same for VR, but hopefully, the price tag's gonna get lower and it's gonna be much more, um, like available for players. Because there has been very few, very big game name in VR. Things that have been Half-Life Alyx, which was a big hit. But apart from that, I'm not sure there was a lot of stuff um, like really to notice on it. I know that Hitman, he wants to do a VR game, and that's gonna be extremely fun because just like this, playing with a mouse and keyboard, I found it fun. So I can't even imagine if I can be the one, having the extinctor or something like this, and boom, shoot someone like this. That would be very fun. Again, problem of VR, you need quite some space, and I don't have that space. So here's what I thought, and I really hope it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna see too much. I mean, I'm sure we'll get something. Like for example, the PlayStation 5. They released. Was it last year or the end of the year before? They released a picture of what the controllers would look like. So we got an idea of what the controllers would look like, and then we haven't really heard anything since. So I don't think it's quite ready yet for sale. So if it does go up for sale, I would assume it'll probably be towards the end of the year, maybe for the Christmas season. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see too much in terms of PlayStation VR. Hopefully, we do see a lot more stuff though on the PC because yeah, now that it's getting cheaper and whatnot, we're gonna hopefully, it's gonna be a little easier for people to get their hands on it and have a little more fun with it. So I do hope that we see that. And but you're right, yeah, VR with you do need a lot of space, especially if you're gonna be playing a game like Hitman or something like that. I think now I've seen some. There are some interesting people have been experimenting with VR because one of the things that I've heard is the hardest to do with VR is just movement because that's what tends to make people sick. Because you're sitting still, but your character's obviously running around. And so I know a lot of games have been kind of experimenting with that. So they've been doing things like there's one where I don't remember what it's called, but you're sitting in a chair in a room, and you're supposed to. It's kind of like a kind of like an escape room. So you're supposed to like you can kind of grab things around the room and look at them and try to figure out a puzzle and stuff like that. But you're sitting stationary in a chair. Other games, obviously you do have to have some sort of movement, but I've seen things where they have it where you kind of teleport around. So
Mm,
you yeah throw a grenade or something and you just appear like that, and that's supposed to help with the movement. Um, I've often wondered though, like for example, maybe if instead of moving your body around, maybe if you were inside something like inside a car or something like that. Like for example, if you did a like an Armored Core or a Mech Warrior game, and so you're inside this
mm,
console, so you don't feel like you're moving, but you feel like it's moving. Kind of like you're
yeah,
flying a
like a
drone or something like that.
Titanfall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel more like you're controlling a drone or something like that. Maybe that would be a little bit better. But then, like at the
Ah,
same time, I'm like, I don't know if that would really work or not. Because then it's kind of like, well, why do I need a VR thing if I'm just going to be sitting in this console? Why don't I
I
just use a
know.
keyboard and mouse?
I know that VR is working extremely well on game which has a very strong ambience. I don't know if I'm saying it
Mm.
right, but like horror games. Like horror games, you don't need to move too much because the space could be quite limited, like a home or something like this. And it's on your head. You have no escape. You're in there, and you're gonna scream if it's well made. So I know it works well for it, but I think it's Doom, if I'm right, that had a VR version. I just don't like so much. You have to click to advance and stuff like that. I think they're gonna be a big boom in the future. I'm thinking 5 years in the future at least, when you'll have this omnidirectional carpet. You're on this little fence around stuff, and you can run and everything without actually falling, or you don't need that much space because it's just basically a big round. But I imagine it's gonna be quite expensive, but like a Wii Fit accessory, for the Wii, something like this. It's a quite a little investment at first, but that could be fun because that would limit the space, and you would feel that you are actually in the action because you are actually moving and not just clicking on the. But that's not for 2022, so definitely not.
Yeah, I was thinking about that just now. I was like, oh well, yeah. Why don't we have more like exercise games and stuff like that? But then I'm like, no, you have this big bulky thing on your head. That's probably the worst possible idea is to be jumping around and doing kicks and stuff. It's just probably no. That yeah. Now I understand why we don't do that. Like
Yeah, but
we
I'm
Fit.
sure the technology, yeah, with the technology advancing, it's gonna get lighter and lighter, and as long as
Oh
it's
yeah.
well screwed on your head, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I mean they even have was it the Google Cardboard where you basically just have, your phone sitting in front of your face. So I mean,
It's just a
that's not
card.
super heavy. It's a little bit heavy, but yeah, I think the idea is eventually to get it just kind of basically be wraparound sunglasses effectively and uh get it out that way, but that technology is obviously still far out there. But yeah, that'll be interesting to do. And then with things like haptic feedback, uh that'll be interesting as well, especially if you can get it into those controllers like what the PS5 one has, or the what's the one that Steam uses? It's got like a. But anyway, if you can get something with haptic feedback with little things for the fingers, then you could actually almost get a tactile thing. So it's like, oh, you're feeling something hard, or you're feeling something soft, or so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then imagine 10 years in the future with Ready Player One, who only not only has the remote but the actual full body. Like the guy can feel everything because he has a bodysuit
yeah, yeah.
adapted for the VR.
Yeah, I don't really know how
That's
that would
something.
even work, but
No
I've
idea.
seen the prototypes of things like that, and it looks like it looks kind of like a military vest. It's this big, bulky vest you wear on it, but it's got all these little actuators in it. And if you get shot, it's just got tons of little hammers in it, basically, and they just boom, 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 hits you where you
Hey,
got hit.
Korean.
Oh, hey,
Korean
yeah,
is saying
yeah,
Korean is saying this treadmill-like device already exists.
yeah. 3D
Yes, it
treadmills
does,
exist.
but it's too expensive and too bulky. That's why I'm saying you need to wait for the technology to advance to make it lighter. More like the Wii board. More like not toy-like, but more like a gadget. You can buy 700 US. Eh, fair enough. I didn't use that, but I still think that it need a bit of improvement because it says imagine for the right now, take a PC. You need nearly 1,500 or $2,000 PC to make it run. The VR game. Then you need the $5 to $1,000 headset. Then you need a space for your room and everything, plus a 700 USD treadmill, all of this combined, that would be a good 4,000 price tag. Plus, again, there's not a lot of game which actually make you want to buy VR. Like you have the new Zelda coming out. I need to buy a Nintendo. You have the new whatever Half-Life coming out. I need to buy an Xbox. You don't have this yet on VR. The wow factor that makes you think, I need that.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say, oh, and then also, yeah, you need a PC that's able to run it with a graphics card.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was saying you need at least a 1,500 or more like $2,000 PC because you need
Yeah.
it's gonna get hot, huh?
Yeah. It's gonna
You
get
need a good
real hot.
cooling
Yeah,
system.
it's gonna get really
Yeah.
hot.